The moment I noticed the knife was missing from its usual place, top drawer, far left, I knew something was wrong. It wasn't panic. It was something colder. Like the room had exhaled and I was the only one who noticed. Sunday mornings in our house were supposed to be slow. Comforting. Pancakes on the stove, jazz humming from the kitchen speaker, Claire, my wife of 12 years, humming off-key while she stirred batter. I'd be at the table with black coffee and the Post, pretending to read more than headlines. But not today. Today her hum stopped halfway through a Coltrane riff, and her shoulders stiffened just slightly, only someone who knew her well would catch it. I did. Something on your mind? I asked casually. Nope, she said too quickly. Just thinking about work. Lie 1. Claire hadn't been to the office in nearly a week. She claimed she was working remotely, but the last 3 nights she came home dressed like she'd stepped off a runway. No laptop bag. Just that same off-kilter smile. I didn't press. I've learned that answers come to those who wait and watch. I work in forensic finance, my job is to find what people try to hide. Numbers don't lie. People do. And Claire was lying. A few nights ago, I found something under her side of the bathroom sink, a small black zipper pouch. Inside was a hypodermic needle, sealed. And a vial with the label scratched off. Faintly, I could still read K-ium chloride. Potassium chloride. In the right dose, it stops the heart. I placed it back exactly as I found it. From that moment, I wasn't a husband anymore. I was a man preparing for war. This morning, she made me eggs. That was new. I watched her plate mine first. A little too quickly. No toast. No syrup. Just eggs and bacon, and a twitch at the corner of her mouth when she passed the plate to me. You sure you're okay? I asked again. I'm fine, she said, eyes on the mug in her hands. Lie 2. At noon, she left the house claiming she had a meeting downtown. I waited 5 minutes, then went to the garage. Opened the cabinet behind the paint cans. The hidden camera was still rolling. A separate one was in her car's dash, installed last week. I reviewed the last few days. She hadn't been going to work. She'd been meeting a man named Dominic Laird. Former client of hers. Recently investigated for embezzlement. And now. He was her audit. The audio bug I placed in her phone case gave me more than I expected. 2 nights ago, I heard her whisper. It'll be clean. Just 1 dose. No mess, no suspicion. He has no siblings. No one to push for an autopsy. I sat in silence as the recording played. Claire was planning to murder me. But here's the thing, she doesn't know that I know. She still thinks I'm the man she married. She still thinks she's winning. She has no idea what's coming. And that's exactly how I want it. It's strange how easy it is to act normal when you know someone's trying to kill you. The day after I heard Claire's plan, I brought her coffee in bed. She looked surprised, maybe even a little guilty, but smiled all the same. Thanks, babe, she said, tucking her hair behind her ear like she used to in college. I watched her take the first sip. She didn't know I'd already swapped the mugs. You don't plan revenge without testing your opponent's weapon first. I went to my office after that, pretending to dig into spreadsheets for a client, but really I was organizing data. I created a folder called Estate Records on a hidden partition of my drive. Inside it, I was gathering everything: photos from the dashboard cam, transcripts of her phone calls, bank statements showing odd cash withdrawals, and surveillance footage. This wasn't just about staying alive anymore. This was about giving her every inch of rope she needed to hang herself, with a smile. That afternoon, I booked an appointment with a criminal defense attorney. Not for now, just in case. I chose someone with a reputation for playing clean and charging high. I'm not in trouble, I told her during our brief consultation. But I may be soon. She raised an eyebrow but said nothing. Professionals understand that silence sometimes buys more than words. At home, Claire was extra attentive that evening. She made pasta from scratch, lit candles, even put on that red blouse she knows I like. She hadn't worn it in over a year. Over dinner, she brought up something strange. I've been thinking, she said, twirling spaghetti slowly. Maybe we should take a trip. Just the two of us. Somewhere quiet. Secluded. She didn't even flinch when she said it. That's what chilled me the most. Sounds good, I replied, matching her smile. Let's go off the grid a bit. Exactly. She reached out and took my hand. Fresh start, right? Her grip was warm. Steady. Murder, it turns out, looks a lot like love. That night, I searched our medicine cabinet for the vial again. It was gone. The pouch, still there. But the potassium chloride? Not in its spot. I checked the fridge, freezer, spice rack, anywhere she could have hidden it in plain sight. Nothing. Which meant she'd either already dosed something, or she was getting ready to. The next morning, I pretended to oversleep. When I came down, she had coffee and toast waiting for me. She watched closely as I took a sip. I coughed, once, lightly, then smiled and gave her a thumbs up. She relaxed. I made a mental note of that. Later that afternoon, I drove to a hardware store and bought a carbon monoxide detector, a hidden nanny cam shaped like a phone charger, and a canister of bear spray. Just in case things turn fast. You don't survive a murder attempt by assuming it'll go according to plan. Then I stopped by an old friend's place, Greg. He's a retired homicide detective. Taught me how to read body language better than any book. You ever think someone's watching you, even when they smile? I asked him, nursing a beer on his porch. Greg squinted. You asking if someone's cheating, or if someone's hunting? Both, I said. He took a long sip, then nodded. You thinking about confronting her? I shook my head. Not yet. He smiled grimly. Smart. The closer you let a snake get, the cleaner the strike when you cut the head off. When I got home, Claire was in the garden, trimming roses. She had earbuds in. I watched her from the kitchen window. She looked peaceful. Serene, even. But I'd seen the truth. Heard it in her voice. She didn't want peace. She wanted a funeral. Mine. I opened a Word document on my laptop and began typing. If you're reading this, something happened to me. Her name is Claire Bennett. Check the hidden folder, Estate Records. Then I emailed it to myself from a burner address, blind copy to my attorney and 2 close friends. It wasn't about paranoia. It was insurance. Because next weekend, we were going on that trip. And if she made a move out there, in the woods, far from witnesses, she better make sure I didn't get back up. Because if I did, I wasn't coming back as her husband. I'd be the reckoning she never saw coming. The trees swallowed the last bit of daylight as we pulled up to the cabin. Claire slid her sunglasses into her bag. It's remote, she said, forcing a smile. That's the point, I replied. She didn't know I'd been here 2 days earlier. I'd swept the place, installed 2 hidden cameras, stashed a voice recorder near the bed, and locked a small pistol in a weatherproof box under the deck. I wasn't just here to reconnect. I was here to see what she'd do when she thought no one was watching. The cabin was quiet, old, filled with the smell of wood and damp insulation. Claire unpacked a bottle of wine and 2 glasses. She poured, handed me one. Cyanide smells faintly like almonds. I sniffed the wine. Drink with me? I asked. She smiled. Clinked her glass. Took a sip first. I drank, too. Just enough to play the part. Later, we sat outside. Stars above, a blanket over our shoulders. She leaned into me like she used to. "This feels good," she said. "Yeah," I replied. "Like a reset." She didn't know I'd already made backup copies of everything, the phone calls, the bank records, the footage of her meeting Dominic. The only thing missing was the final act. That night, around 2 a.m., she stirred. She thought I was asleep. I wasn't. I felt her move quietly, slip out of bed. Soft steps into the kitchen. Drawer opens. Closes. She returned minutes later, slower now. I could hear her breathing. She stood next to me, watching. Then, nothing. Just silence. In the morning, she made eggs and smiled like nothing happened. I smiled back. But I knew she tried to poison me, and failed. Because the vial she hid in the kitchen. I'd swapped it for saline 2 nights ago. She never noticed. After breakfast, I walked her outside. She paused by the edge of the woods, gripping her coat pocket. "Something wrong?" I asked. "No," she lied. That was when I said it. "I know, Claire." Her eyes widened. "Know what?" "About Dominic. About the syringe. About what you plan to do here." Her face drained of color. I pulled out the recorder from my jacket. Hit play. "He has no family nearby. 1 clean dose." She stepped back. "No words." "I was never your victim," I said. "You just didn't know the rules changed." She dropped her bag. I turned and walked inside. She didn't follow. By the time I returned, she was gone. But the footage? Perfect. Now it was her turn to wait. To wonder what I'd do with everything I knew. And that's exactly what I wanted. 3 days passed before Claire texted me. "I'm sorry." I panicked. "Can we talk?" I didn't reply. She wasn't sorry for what she'd done, only for failing. That morning, I walked into the office of Caroline Wolfe, a former federal prosecutor turned defense lawyer. Smart. Precise. Cold in the way I needed. She closed my file, looked me in the eye. "You have video of her attempting to poison you?" "Technically, yes." She retrieved the syringe. Stood over me. "But she didn't inject." "Doesn't matter," Caroline said. "Intent is everything. Especially when it's paired with motive." I slid a flash drive across the desk. On there is every call, text, timestamp, and transaction. She bought potassium chloride under an alias. She met with another man multiple times. And she lied, repeatedly. Caroline inserted the drive. Watched a 20-second clip of Claire holding the syringe. She didn't blink. "We'll start with this. Build the case out." I stayed quiet for another week. No calls. No texts. Claire tried reaching out again, more emotional this time. "You don't understand. It wasn't going to happen. I couldn't do it. I didn't bite." Instead, I filed a police report and handed over the footage. Quietly. Formally. No accusations, just documentation. The detective nodded as he reviewed it. "You're doing the right thing. Play it slow. Let the system carry the weight." Claire didn't know yet, but the fuse was lit. At home, I started packing key documents, titles, insurance, tax records. Anything that might vanish if she got spooked. I also moved funds into a new account under my name. Not hidden. Just protected. Caroline called that night. "We're ready. Restraining order first. Divorce filing immediately after. Once she's served, she'll know we're not bluffing." "Good," I said. Are you prepared for her reaction? I've been prepared since the moment she poured that wine. Claire was served the following Monday. According to the courier, she didn't speak. Just stood there, frozen on the porch in gym clothes, envelope in hand. Inside it. Emergency protective order. Divorce papers. A letter from me. No emotion. Just 10 lines. Claire. I know what you tried to do. I gave you time to come clean. You chose silence and lies. I chose survival. We are done. Your actions have consequences. I'll see you in court. D. That night, she finally called. 1 ring. 2. I answered. David, she whispered. You don't have to do this. You already did, I said. Silence. I didn't want to kill you. I wanted out. But I was afraid you'd never let go. That's what divorce is for, Claire. Not a syringe in the dark. She cried then. Or pretended to. Hard to tell anymore. I still love you. You tried to erase me, I said. You don't get to love what you plan to bury. I hung up. The next step. Asset division. Testimony. Exposure. And Claire would have to stand in a courtroom and explain why she owned a vial of poison, met a man in secret, and whispered about my death like it was nothing more than a plan to redecorate. The truth was coming. And I'd be there to watch her choke on every word of it. The courthouse was colder than I expected. Not the temperature, just the feel of the place. Like the air itself was watching. Claire sat across the room from me. Makeup lighter than usual. Hair pulled back. No jewelry. She looked like someone trying to appear fragile. Our lawyers handled the talking. This was just a motion hearing, restraining order, financial disclosures, custody arrangements. Nothing explosive. Yet. Caroline leaned in. She's trying to play the victim. Look at the outfit. The silence. It's deliberate. I didn't respond. I just kept my eyes on the judge, letting Claire sit with the discomfort of my gaze. She wouldn't meet it. Her lawyer, a thin man with too much charm in his voice, tried spinning the situation. There's no concrete evidence of intent. No physical harm. My client deeply regrets any distress caused by misunderstandings or emotional confusion. Caroline stood. Calm. Professional. We have audio of her planning to murder her husband. Video of her retrieving a syringe in the middle of the night. Bank statements. Secret meetings with another man. If that's emotional confusion, it's well-funded and highly organized. The judge raised an eyebrow. I'll review the footage. Claire flinched. Outside the courtroom, she caught me alone by the elevators. David, she said softly. Please. I'm not that person. You're not, I replied. That person would have finished the job. She blinked. You don't have to destroy me. I'm not, I said. I'm just letting you self-destruct in front of the system. She looked like she wanted to slap me. Or hug me. Maybe both. But I walked away. The media hadn't caught on yet. But it was coming. The moment the restraining order was granted, and it was, Claire's job at the state financial office came under review. She was placed on leave by the end of the week. 2 days later, Dominic Laird's name popped up on a subpoena. The man she risked everything for. He ghosted her the second papers landed. The worst part? Our mutual friend started choosing sides. Not openly. But it showed in the silences. The awkward calls. The social invites that suddenly didn't come. People didn't want to believe she was capable of something like this. But slowly, quietly, they began to see her. Claire filed a counterclaim. Claimed I'd been controlling. Accused me of psychological neglect. It was weak. Desperate. Expected. Caroline filed our full evidence packet the same day, surveillance logs, transcripts, time-stamped footage. It was no longer just my word against hers. It was evidence versus performance. I didn't want her ruined. I wanted the truth exposed, and justice to feel like justice, not just procedure. But there's a kind of power in letting someone dig their own grave, one lie at a time. And Claire. She wasn't done digging. The story broke on a Thursday morning. A local crime blog picked it up first. Former state auditor accused of murder plot against husband. By noon, it was everywhere. Claire's name. Her photo. My face, blurred. The footage, heavily redacted, was described in the article. A woman standing over her husband at night. A vial in hand. A whisper caught on audio. I didn't leak it. Someone in the courthouse did. But I didn't stop it either. Claire called me that night. I let it go to voicemail. "You've ruined me," she said, voice cracking. "They've put me on indefinite leave. My reputation's gone. My sister won't return my calls. My God, David, are you happy?" I listened in silence. Then deleted the message. The next day, I picked up groceries like any normal person. In line at checkout, the woman behind me glanced at my card, then at me. "You're him, aren't you?" she said quietly. I didn't answer. She gave me a small, sad smile. "She's lucky you're still breathing." Claire's attorney tried to pivot. He filed a motion claiming the evidence had been obtained through unethical surveillance. He said I manipulated her. That I baited the situation. Caroline dismantled that in 10 minutes flat. All recordings were on property owned by my client, and the plaintiff was aware her husband was absent from work during the recordings, she told the judge. He didn't bait her. He just stopped pretending not to see. Motion denied. Claire moved out of our home that weekend. Not because the court forced her. Because she couldn't stand being in a place where every drawer, every light switch, every hallway whispered. "You failed." On Sunday, I went back to the cabin. Alone. I stood at the edge of the trees, where she once held that syringe. It was quiet now. Peaceful. But the memory hadn't faded. It lived here. I buried the fake vial beneath a rock. Not as evidence. Just to leave something behind. Some ghosts, you don't chase out. You plant them and let them grow roots, so you never forget. The divorce proceedings picked up speed. She offered a settlement. Half the house, no custody fight, a clean split. It sounded like surrender. And maybe it was. But I didn't agree right away. I wanted her to sit with it. To sweat. To remember every second she spent looking me in the eye, knowing she planned to end my life. Claire's final deposition was scheduled for Friday. She showed up looking hollow. Smaller. Caroline and I reviewed her answers. Some were careful. Some evasive. But all of them had one thing in common. They weren't apologies. Not real ones. After it ended, she asked for a moment alone with me. I gave it to her. Outside, under gray clouds. "You could have ruined me worse," she said. "Why didn't you?" "Because I'm not like you," I said. "I fight clean." She nodded. "I did love you once, you know." "That's the part that should scare you," I replied. "Because if that was love, I'd hate to see what hate looks like." She looked like she wanted to cry. I didn't wait around to see if she did. Final hearings are quieter than you'd think. No jury. No public gallery. Just a courtroom, 2 attorneys, a judge with tired eyes, and the last pieces of a marriage being legally carved apart. Claire didn't look at me when she walked in. She wore gray. No makeup. Hands folded so tightly her knuckles were white. I wondered, for a moment, if she felt anything. Then I remembered, feeling wasn't her problem. Restraint was. The judge read over the agreement. Divorce finalized. No spousal support. Shared property sold and split. Sole custody not applicable, no children. No criminal charges filed, yet. Caroline leaned in and whispered, "This is the end." It didn't feel like an ending. Just the closing of a chapter no one will ever read aloud. After court, Claire approached me for the last time. "I'm leaving Virginia," she said. I nodded. Probably a good idea. I lost everything, David. You tried to take everything, Claire. What you lost was a mirror. She looked away. Are you ever going to forgive me? I paused, then answered honestly. No. But I'll forget you. That's worse. Weeks passed. The headlines faded. So did the texts from curious friends. Eventually, people moved on. I didn't. I just moved forward. I started running again. Woke up earlier. Took long drives with the windows down and the radio off. Some nights, I still replayed that moment, her standing over me, syringe in hand, face soft in the dark like she was just adjusting a blanket. Not deciding if I should live. But the weight of it gets lighter, the more times you carry it. The cabin went up for sale. I left the camera footage behind, wiped clean. Let the ghosts rest. One night I drove out there before it changed hands. I stood where she once whispered into her phone, thinking no one could hear. And I smiled. Because I did hear her. And I made sure the world heard too. I saw Claire once more, months later, by accident. An airport. Different terminal. Same face. She didn't see me. She looked older. Smaller. Not dangerous. Just, hollow. For the first time, I felt nothing. Not anger. Not sorrow. Not even fear. That's when I knew I'd won. This story doesn't end with revenge. It ends with freedom. Not loud. Not cinematic. Just a quiet kind of justice. The kind that comes when the worst part of your life no longer owns you.